I'm Harrison Graham. On today's Chicago Bears Now episode, I react to trade ideas that you guys sent in on our community tab. If you want to get in the future, subscribe, throw in some trade ideas in the comments and on the community tab. We'll try to get as many of these on the show. Of course, the trade deadline is on Tuesday, October 31st, so the Bears are going to make some moves. The clock is ticking. Let's start with Joe O'Donnell's trade idea. Budda Baker to the Bears for a 2024 second and a 2025 sixth round pick. When I first saw the offer, I was like, okay, it's a little rich for my liking, but Budda Baker's been elite. But then I thought about it even more. He's a free agent next year. So that's a pretty penny to pay for a safety position, which is important, but it's not considered premium compared to some other positions. Like, I think Budda Baker would probably go for more for like a third or a 2/4 or something like that. Like, I don't think you'd have to give up a second and a sixth to get him in here. Now, Joe O'Donnell mentioned the idea of this could be an Eddie Jackson type of replacement, and I do think that's something to watch out for moving forward. Like, the safety position is probably going to be a need next year because there's a real chance this is it for Eddie Jackson in Chicago. He's under contract for next year, but the Bears can get out of that deal with not a crazy dead cap hit. He's battled injuries the last year and a half, so unless he gets back and healthy and plays unbelievable the rest of the season, just based on his contract structure, if he doesn't take a pay cut, then you're probably going to move on and address safety with a different player. Sub for Bears Dubs. Can we get to 78,000 subscribers before Sunday Night Football against the Chargers? If we get there, I love our chances of winning on Sunday night, so hit that subscribe button. Let's get it. Daily Bears coverage will be live for this game as well. Don't miss out. Sub for Bears Dubs. Let's go. Jimothy Jim Jam's trade. Excuse me. Let me get some water real quick. He says, this trade got my head spinning a little bit. Jeffery Simmons in a third for Justin Fields in a second. So you take the picks out of it, or you kind of hide the picks for a second, right? You're basically saying Jeffery Simmons is one round more valuable than Justin Fields. And at this exact moment in time, that probably checks out, right? Because if you traded Jeffery Simmons, you'd probably get a first in return. If the Bears traded Justin Fields, you'd probably get a second in return. So that math kind of adds up to me. So that kind of makes sense. Now, obviously, let's talk about Simmons here first. He would fill a clear need. 3-tech, explosive interior pass rusher, can also play the run. He also brings just that nastiness to a defensive line. Now, on the flip side, while that value probably lines up right now, the risk, of course, is you're trading a franchise quarterback potentially. Now, we don't know if Justin Fields is going to become that. I don't think he's done enough now to be that guy for sure in Chicago, but we've seen the upside. There's no doubt about it. So, sure, at this exact moment in time, that trade value lines up probably, but at the same time, are they really going to trade Justin Fields in the next few days before Tuesday's trade deadline? Like, I would be shocked if that happened. I really, really would, just because, number one, trading quarterback midseason, very unlikely in general, especially when he's dealing with a wrist injury and isn't even healthy right now. And number two, if you're Ryan Poles and you trade Justin Fields, you're basically signaling to the league, we're drafting a quarterback next year. Well, what if you don't get a top 2 pick, right? Then what are you doing? Are you trading up? Are you like having a stopgap year with Tyson Bagent? Is he your guy? So I just think you have to wait till the offseason before you move Fields if that's the decision you've made as a franchise, because there's just too many what ifs right now. Like, what if you fall in the draft? What if he plays awesome the rest of the year? What if Tyson Bagent plays really well, but you don't want to draft the QB next year, but you want to keep Fields in your QB room for next year? Like, there's just so many scenarios that have to play out, and I just don't think there's enough time to evaluate all of that to trade him right now before Tuesday. That just seems way too risky. Now, what say you? Maybe you're just like, I'm done with him. Let's just trade him now. Get what you can for him. And I get that to an extent. Would you trade Fields before the trade deadline? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I just don't think there's enough certainty with everything going on right now. Like, even if Bagent balls out Sunday, okay, like he's had 2 goodish games and you've got your answer. Like, I don't think you could come to that conclusion. So Y for yes, N for no. Would you trade Fields before the trade deadline or not? From JK, he proposed Deontay Foreman to the Bucs for a 2024 sixth-round pick. Now, Foreman the last couple of weeks has played some really good football. I mean, the Bears have really leaned on him on the ground, especially against Vegas this past week. 31 carries, $154, 2 touchdowns in these past 2 games, average of 5 yards per carry. I mean, he's been the engine of the offense, especially since Bajent has checked in there. Now, you look at this running back situation as a whole because you're like, okay, if you trade Deontay Foreman, what does the room look like? Khalil Herbert's eligible to return in Week 10. This weekend's game will be his 3rd missed game on short-term IR, which means he'd miss 1 more in Week 9 against the Saints. Eligible to return Week 10 doesn't mean he'd for sure be back Week 10. So you got that. Roschon is expected to return this week. So I think the only way you trade Foreman is if Roschon plays Sunday and plays well, and you feel like, okay, we can get through 1 game while Herbert's still on IR. I mean, to get a draft pick for Foreman when he's on a 1-year, $3 million deal is somewhat appealing. But at the same time, you'd have to feel really good about Khalil Herbert returning in Week 10 because otherwise you're leaving your running back room pretty short-handed unless you just think Darrington Evans is ready for a much bigger role. Before we get to our next fan trade idea, we are sponsored by Factor here on today's show. And Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. They can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your doorstep. You'll save time, you'll eat well, and you'll stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Adjust your stride this autumn without missing a step. Choose from 34-plus weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never-frozen meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. Looking for calorie-conscious options, perhaps? Try delicious dietitian-approved calorie-smart meals with or around 550 calories or less per serving. Delicious, healthy meals that you don't have to spend hours to prepare for. Look, we all like a nice home-cooked meal every now and again, but it takes too long. Guess what? These taste like nice home-cooked meals because they are, and they're delivered straight to your doorstep and take like 2 minutes to prepare. Factormeals.com/BearsChat50. That is factormeals.com/BearsChat50. That code BearsChat50 is going to get you 50% off at checkout. Check the comments, check the description. BearsChat50 is the code at factormeals.com/BearsChat50. From Noy here, a lot of Chase Young stuff. This is the one that intrigued me the most. Chase Young for a 4th this year, which is the pick from the Philadelphia Eagles that you got on draft night to move down a spot when you ended up drafting Darnell Wright. And then a 2nd the year later. Remember, Bears have 2 picks that year. He didn't specify if that would be your own or Carolina's pick. So a 2 and a 4 with the two drafts from now. So I kind of like that. You're not giving up a ton right now in this upcoming draft. And report from Jordan Schultz is that both Montez Sweat and Chase Young should cost day 2 picks. So, a 2 in 2025 and a 4 right now, I could buy into that being a trade package for Chase Young. Now, I think Washington would prefer a 2 this year if I had to guess, but who knows? Beggars can't be choosers, and they don't have a ton of leverage because both those guys are hitting free agency, and you can only franchise tag one of them. So you look at Chase Young this year, 35 pressures. He's gotten after the quarterback pretty well. Still needs to improve as a run defender, but he is back and healthy, and he looks like the guy we saw his rookie year and then some. Like, he looks even better this season, and we could, beat a dead horse if you want to. The edge position, man, you need rushers. You got to have guys that can go get the quarterback. And I think while this defensive line has played the run pretty well this year, that pass rush still has a lot of work to do. And a guy like Chase Young, who's 24 years old, you could trade for him, pay him to an extension, and help build your roster with that guy. Certainly appealing. There's no doubt about it. Now, how badly do you guys want Chase Young? Because I keep getting Chase Young DMs, questions, comments on our videos. Scale it 1 to 10, 1 being you don't want him at all, 10 being we got to get this guy. I don't care how much it costs. How badly do you want him? I mean, I'll throw it at a 7. I want the guy, but there's other pass rushers I'd take. How badly do I want good pass rushers? A million. Like, think of all the good teams. They're all good on the defensive line. I mean, that's how you win in this league. You get the quarterback, you protect the quarterback, you have the quarterback. I mean, that's it. Go get the other guy, protect yours, and then yours has to be good. If you have those 3 things, you're going to be winning 12-plus games a year. That's just how it works. All right, Mike Nintendo's idea. Jonah Williams to the Bears for a 2nd and a 5th round pick. Jonah Williams is a solid player. He's back at right tackle this season because they picked up Orlando Brown from the Cincinnati Bengals. But at the same time, like, there was friction this offseason. Like, the idea of this trade was to move him back to left when you get there. He didn't play good at left tackle last year. Darnell Wright's already, I think, a better right tackle than Jonah Williams. Like, is he going to go back to left and be awesome? Like, a 2 and a 5 is a lot. Like, I would throw like a fourth and say take it or leave it, Cincinnati. Like, I'm not moving the barn to get a guy like Jonah Williams in here. I mean, the PFF grades are fine at right tackle. Darnell Wright's are higher, and he's a rookie. And again, you're asking Jonah Williams to go back to left tackle. So I think you're paying too much on this trade idea. I don't hate the idea of getting the player. I'm not giving up a second to do it. I'd rather just draft somebody at left tackle. Or hell, I think Braxton Jones might be better at left tackle than Jonah Williams. I mean, if he gets back and healthy and was playing how he started the year, I think that's very much a possibility. All right, our last trade idea here from Jay Sanders, Jeff Bezos for the McCaskey family. I got to be honest, there were a lot of troll trade ideas in there, a couple of Patrick Mahomes ones. I saw one, Patrick Mahomes and 7 first for T-Bag, which is that Bagent's new nickname. Secret Bagent man, T-Bag, who knows what we're calling him these days. This one made me laugh, though. I mean, this is legitimately hilarious. Like, I know Bears fans are tired of McCaskey ownership and all that stuff. George, Virginia, we'll see ya. Jeff Bezos, come take over. I don't think the McCaskeys are selling anytime soon, unfortunately. But if they want to run Amazon and if Bezos wants to run the Bears, I think we'd all sign up for that, right? That's funny stuff, Jay Sanders. Really, really good. All right, chime in. Name a player or owner, I guess, that the Bears should trade for here on today's show. Let us know. Also, one more that made me laugh was, and I love the pretext of what this guy said. I forgot his name was. He goes, "Hear me out. Matt Eberflus to Michigan for Jim Harbaugh. Hear me out." Like, I think he might have been serious. Like, that was good stuff. But name a player that you guys want the Bears to trade for before Tuesday's deadline. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody who tuned into today's show. Had a lot of fun. Good trade ideas sent in from you guys. So we'll do some more of that in the future. My name is Harrison Graham. Don't forget to subscribe. Trying to get to 78,000 subscribers by Sunday Night Football.